Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas listening to me. Today we will continue from fourth question of the chapter, Compassion towards living entities, of the Abhidheya part of this book. Before that, let us offer our prayers at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and all our previous acharyas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तद्काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनाम पावनेभ्यो श्रीवैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Fourth question is, what is an example of a Vaishnava's display of compassion to living entities? Answer is, until a living entity's good fortune is awakened, his propensity for serving Krishna does not arise. To help the living entities in this cause is the only proof of a Vaishnava's compassion towards living entities. Fifth question is, how does a Vaishnava show compassion to living entities? Answer is, the main activity of a Vaishnava is to make living entities inclined towards serving Lord Krishna. Whenever curing of disease or satisfying hunger of the gross body becomes the main object, it is to be understood that there is a lack of Vaishnavism there. Because by such activities the living entities get only temporary relief and not eternal relief. But whenever such activities are directed to help the living entities' inclination towards Krishna, the Vaishnavas take pleasure in them. Sixth question is, how should one conduct oneself as a devotee? Answer is, teach your saintly characteristics to others. You are engaged in good activities, that is all right, but the living entities of the material world, who are just like your brothers, are becoming degraded due to sinful activities. Your duty is to manifest saintly qualities and induce others to follow. Seventh question is, which materialists are fit for receiving the Vaishnava's mercy? Answer is, the devotees should display mercy towards the non-duplicitous materialists. Eighth question is, what kind of preaching makes a Vaishnava happy? Answer is, a Vaishnava becomes particularly happy when he sees that by his preaching the topics of Krishna, even one living entity has taken to the service of Krishna. Ninth question is there any difference between Jivadaya and the basis of devotional service to Krishna? Answer is, compassion cannot be separated from raga or attachment. There is no difference between Jivadaya and the basis of devotional service to Krishna. 10th question is, how does a Vaishnava show his mercy? And why is it the topmost? Answer is, on the spiritual platform there is only friendship, and on the conditional statue there is friendship, compassion, negligence according to persons. These are the identification of eternal constitutional compassion. When the compassion for the conditioned soul is in its stage as a bud, it is confined to one's own body. When this bud is little bit blossomed, it applies to one's family members. When it is further blossomed, it applies to one's own caste. When it is more blossomed, it applies to one's own countrymen. When it is further blossomed, it applies to all humanity. And when it is fully blossomed, it applies to all living entities. In English, this is called patriotism and philanthropy. The Vaishnavas cannot remain confined to all these narrow-mindedness. Their mood is to show compassion to all living entities regardless of their caste, creed, nationality, as well as mental and physical condition. With that, we complete 58th chapter and move on to 59th chapter, which is called Developing Taste for Chanting the Holy Names. First question is, can one develop taste for chanting if he does not possess any piety born of devotional service? Answer is, a person who does not have piety born of devotional service can never achieve any faith in the science of devotional service. Among all the limbs of devotional service, chanting the holy names is the topmost. Therefore, one cannot develop a taste for chanting if he lacks piety. Second question is there any necessity for performing eternal and occasional activities if one has developed a taste for chanting the holy names of Hari? Answer is, when one develops a taste for cultivating the chanting of the holy names in the association of the saintly person, then one no longer needs to perform any kind of pious activities. Chanting of holy names is a complete spiritual cultivation. Pious activities such as chanting Vedic mantras and offering prayers are simply support of the above mentioned principal activity of chanting the holy names. They are never complete in themselves. Third question is, how and when does one develop a taste for chanting the holy names? Answer is, if I sing your holy name aloud every day with warm affection, then as sugar candy taken medicinally destroys the very disease which make it bitter taste, so your holy name, O Lord Hari, will cure my spiritual disease and allow me to gradually taste your sweetness. How great is my misfortune that I feel no appreciation for your holy name, O merciful Lord. In such a lamentable state, how will I be freed from committing the 10 offenses of the holy name? If I sing your name every day, gradually by your mercy, the 10 offenses will disappear, taste for your holy name will grow within me, and I shall relish the intoxicating wine of the holy name. With that, we finish the 59th chapter and move on to 60th chapter, which is called Service to the Vaishnavas. First question is, should a person who is aspiring for Krishna's mercy not consider the differences among the Vaishnavas? Answer is, I will recognize the Vaishnavas as they are according to their qualification and offer my respect to them. Then I will certainly achieve their mercy, which is the secret of all perfection. Second question is, can one achieve the result of serving a devotee by mistakenly serving a non-devotee as a devotee? Answer is, do not think that if we serve the non-devotee by considering them as devotee, we will achieve the result of serving the devotees. Third question is, are serving the living entities and the Vaishnavas the same? Answer is, if one serves all living entities by considering them as Vaishnavas, one gets only the result of serving the living entities. However, it cannot be called the service to the Vaishnavas who are attached to the chanting of the holy names as prescribed by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Fourth question is, can one achieve the result of Vaishnava Seva by feeding the pseudo-Vaishnavas who are greedy after opulent food, wealth and disciples? Answer is, the present custom in the holy places is extremely harmful. There, one person goes out and invites 100 Vaishnavas for lunch. After receiving such invitation, the Vaishnavas immediately give up their respective duties and decorate themselves with tilaka, etc. They then begin to manifest symptoms of devotional service like thinking, today we will get sufficient puris and malpoyas as well as some dakshinas. In his book Sri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami has not accepted these activities as devotional service. Therefore, if these activities are not devotional service, then the performers of such activities cannot be accepted as Vaishnavas. Fifth question is feeding the descendants of the Supreme Lord Vaishnavas seva, and is there any need to respect Vaishnavas' spiritual status while serving them? Answer is, nowadays the system in the holy places is that when someone wishes to serve Vaishnavas, he invites one of the descendants of the Lord like Nityananda Vamsa or Advaita Vamsa, cooks various opulent foodstuffs, then invites some people as Vaishnavas and feed them. We cannot accept such activities as Vaishnava Seva. In the service of Vaishnavas, there is no need to respect the spiritual status of a Vaishnava. The differences in the degree of devotional service determines the superiority and inferiority of the Vaishnavas. Sixth question is, with what kind of consideration and carefulness should one serve a Vaishnava? Answer is, one should consider the Vaishnava Seva as an eternal occupational duty. But with a desire to gain name and fame, one should not serve an invited Vaishnava with food and donation and then engage in activities hostile to devotional service. Seventh question is giving dakshina after feeding a Vaishnava part of karma kand? Answer is, giving dakshina to a Vaishnava after feeding him is certainly a part of karma kand. There is no system of giving dakshina to a Vaishnava. Giving dakshina to a Vaishnava has been created from the system of giving dakshina to the Brahmins after feeding them. This system should certainly be rejected. Eighth question is, what kind of Vaishnava should one satisfy? Answer is, O devotees, glorify the Vaishnavas who are attached to chanting the holy names of Hari in all respects. But do not degrade the Vaishnava Seva into the level of Karma Kanda by giving donations to the Vaishnavas after feeding them. It is not the opinion of the Lord to invite some renounced Vaishnavas and feed them. Ninth question is, how should one feed a pure Vaishnava and an ordinary guest? Answer is, if you have to feed a professional teacher who is afflicted with hunger, you should do so according to the rule of serving the guest. There is no need to show special love to him. You can serve him with care but not with love. However, you should feed the pure Vaishnavas with love and affection, and if required, you should accept their remnants with love and respect. 10th question is, giving alms to a sannyasi and serving a Vaishnava guest the same? Answer is, an uninvited renounced Vaishnava is called a guest Vaishnava. If incidentally any such Vaishnava comes to our house, we should serve them. This will amount to householders Vaishnava Seva. By inviting too many sannyasis, it becomes difficult to properly take care of them, and as a result, offense is committed. As soon as Vaishnava is invited, he is no longer a guest. Giving alms to a sannyasi cannot be called Vaishnava Seva. 11th question is, what is the difference between serving the guests and serving the Vaishnavas, and which one of them should a Vaishnava householder do? Answer is, the difference between Atithi Seva and Vaishnava Seva is that Atithi Seva is the religious principles of the householders, and Vaishnava Seva is the religious principles of the Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava householder must perform Atithi Seva because since he is a householder, he should serve the guest, and since he is a Vaishnava, he should serve the Vaishnavas. 12th question is, what is proper Vaishnava Seva? Answer is, nowadays a practice is going on in the name of festival. Many people are thinking this to be a Vaishnava Seva. Actually, without serving the pure Vaishnavas, one cannot get the result of serving the Vaishnavas. If even the numbers of pure Vaishnavas are very few, still one can attain the result of Vaishnava Seva only by serving pure Vaishnavas. 13th question is, what procedure should one follow when a Vaishnava arrives or departs? Answer is, if one hears that a Vaishnava is coming, one should go forward and welcome him, and when a Vaishnava leaves, one should follow him up to some distance. With that, we complete 60th chapter and move on to 61st chapter, which is called Istagosthi or Vaishnava counseling. And first question is, what is Istagosthi? Answer is, without the association of pure devotees, there cannot be an Istagosthi. The word Ista means desired subject matter, and the word Gosthi means an assembly. The assembly of pure devotees has been described as Istagosthi by combining the above mentioned two words. Second question is, how many kinds of Istagosthis of the pure devotees are there? Answer is, Istagosthi is of two kinds, following and preaching. At the time of following, the pure devotees recite Srimad Bhagavatam, hear and chant the holy names of Hari. At the time of preaching, they propagate the science of the absolute truth, the living entities, the signs of the transcendental mellows, and the glories of the holy names, according to the qualification of the audience. Third question is, what is Krishna Katha Gosthi? Answer is, when two devotees meet together and discuss the topics of Krishna, it is called Krishna Katha Gosthi. Fourth question is, what is the difference between ordinary talk and Istagosthi? Answer is, what to speak of avoiding happiness? Ordinary talk causes extremely unhappiness. However, in Istagosthi, such a thing never takes place. Fifth question is, why the assembly of pure devotees is very rare? Answer is, pure devotees are very rare in this world. Therefore, it is very difficult to find more than 4 or 5 such devotees in an assembly or Istagosthi. Sixth question is, what are the different stages of Srimad Gauranga Samaj? Answer is, a gathering of all types of people is called Srimad Gauranga Samaj. A gathering of devotees is called Vaishnava Samaj or Vaishnava Istagosthi. A meeting of two pure devotees is called Krishna Katha Gosthi, and the existence of one pure devotee is called solitary bhajana of chanting the holy names. With that, we complete 61st chapter and move on to 62nd chapter, which is called preaching. First question is, who are attached to preaching and who are attached to both following and preaching? Answer is, the bhajan anandi devotees, or those who take pleasure in performing the bhajana in a solitary place, are attached to following the codes of conduct. The Ghostanandi devotees, or those who take pleasure in performing bhajana in the association of other devotees, are always attached to preaching. Among Ghostanandis, some of them are attached to following the codes of conduct and preaching. Remembering the Lord is the primary code of conduct for the loving devotees, and chanting the holy names of the Lord is their preaching. Second question is, Are the religious principles preached by Mahaprabhu not fit to be preached? Answer is, Mahaprabhu has entrusted everyone the responsibility of preaching Vaishnava Dharma. Third question is, what procedure should one follow while preaching? Answer is, one should transform an unqualified person into a qualified person and then instruct about the holy names. Whenever possible, one should avoid speaking in such a way that it puts obstacle in the act of preaching. Fourth question is, what recommendation did Srimad Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave to vigorously preach the order of Sriman Mahaprabhu? Answer is, preach the chanting of the holy names of Krishna and the teachings of Sri Gauranga in every town and village. Take Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in your hands, go door to door and preach the Lord's holy names and the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu. As Mahaprabhu ordered Sri Nityananda and Sri Haridas to travel and preach his messages, similarly, being servants of Sri Gauranga, you should engage proper candidates to travel and preach the teachings of Mahaprabhu. Preaching cannot be done by unqualified persons. In our opinion, you should immediately set up a Vaishnava school. After educating some selfless, well-behaved persons in the teachings of Mahaprabhu in that school, send them to every town and village to preach his message. Fifth question is, what have the previous Vaishnavas and the Goswamis done to protect and preach Vaishnava Dharma? Answer is, some of the previous Vaishnavas and the Goswamis have illuminated the entire world with the light of pure eternal Vaishnava Dharma by writing devotional literatures, by writing songs, by preaching religious principles and chanting the holy names of Hari, and by their pure characteristics and sublime Vaishnavism. Since the entire world has now plunged into darkness in the form of various irreligious principles due to the influence of Kali, Mahaprabhu is attracting the minds of many persons and empowering many devotees to preach his own teachings, to distribute the love of God, and to preach actual Vaishnava etiquettes. Sixth question is, in order to protect Sri Chaitanya's pure religious principles, what is our duty towards persons who find faults in his instructions? Answer is, if it is our duty to remove those harmful insects who have entered into the flower of pure religious principles followed and instructed by Sri Mahaprabhu. It is not that such insects are only plundering the fragrance of the flower of religious principles, but they are trying to finish the flower by gradually eating it away. The seed of pure instructions that Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Deva, Prabhu Nityananda and his son Prabhu Veer Chandra showed in order to establish the society of Vaishnava has in some places become fruitless due to falling into some barren land, and in some places produced unwanted weeds due to falling into uncultured land. Seventh question, what should be done to re-establish the principles of Vaishnava Dharma? Answer is, in order to deliver Vaishnava Dharma from Maya, one must try to remove all oppressions from it. Eighth question is, how much should one tolerate in order to destroy evil philosophy? Answer is, if evil philosophies exist in your country, then you should try to correct them. If even this causes a confrontation with cheaters and cunning people, still you should fight them for the sake of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Ninth question, should one expose the characters of those who are opposed to pure devotional service while preaching? Answer is, many activities which are illegal and hostile to devotional service are widely being performed in the name of devotional service. Unless those activities are clearly exposed, there cannot be any victory of preaching pure devotional service. 10th question is, why is it necessary to write the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya in all languages of the world? Answer is, it is extremely necessary to write Sri Chaitanya's pastimes in all languages of the world. Within a very short time, the name of Mahaprabhu will be spread all over the world, and he will become the only worshipable Lord of everyone. 11th question is, how should the preachers propagate the teachings of Mahaprabhu? Answer is, the preachers should propagate the teachings of Mahaprabhu simply out of love. They should neither expect any salary nor any reward. It is not possible to preach pure religious principles without pure devotees. That is why, even though hired people of other religious groups try to preach their religion, they hardly achieve any result. 12th question is, how did Sriman Mahaprabhu and his associates preach the holy names of Hari? Answer is, after accepting sannyas, Srimad Godruma Chandra, who is the most merciful incarnation and the purifier of Kali Yuga, preached the holy names of Hari all over the world. While residing at Jagannath Puri, the Lord personally distributed love of Krishna to the residents of Orissa and South India. He ordered Srimad Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu to preach the holy names of Krishna and reveal the signs of the absolute truth in Bengal. He sent Srimad Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis to the western part of India to preach the glories of the holy name and pure devotional service. Being ordered by Sriman Mahaprabhu, Sri Rupa Goswami lived in Vrindavana and preached the glories of the holy names and pure devotional service. Today I will sing before you the 8 verses glorifying the holy names composed by Sri Rupa Goswami, who was the Acharya of the mellows of the holy names. Kindly hear them and realize these glories of the holy names of Hari. 13th question, who is the inaugurator of Namahat and what are his instructions? Answer is, नदिया गौद्र में नित्यानंद महाजन पाती अच्छे नाम हट जीवेरा कारण श्रद्धावान जन है प्रभु राज नया भाई मागिए ही भिक्षा बोलो कृष्णा भजो कृष्णा करो कृष्णा शिक्षा अपराध सुने आहो ये लोहा कृष्णा नाम कृष्णा माता कृष्णा पिता कृष्णा धन प्राण कृष्णेरा संसारा करो छाड़ी अनाचार जीवे दोया कृष्ण नाम सर्वधर्मसार. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O faithful persons, O brothers, by the order of Lord Gauranga, I beg this one request. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all improper behavior, carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Krishna. The showing of compassion to all fallen souls by loudly chanting the holy names of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. 15th question is, what were the duties of principal Mahajans, workers and guards of Namahatta, and how did pure patrolling perform? Answer is, Sri Mahaprabhu displayed his mercy towards the living entities who are tortured by Kali Yuga by ordering Sri Nityananda Prabhu to preach the holy name home to home. Therefore, Sri Nityananda Prabhu is certainly the Mool Mahajan or the chief proprietor of the Nam hut located at Godruma. Even though all the employees of the Nam hut are qualified for performing Ajna Tahal, the patrol according to the Lord's order, still the great Mahashayas, who are like patrolling watchmen, are specially empowered to render these duties in an entirely selfless manner. Above all the rest, Prabhu Nityananda and patrolman Haridas Thakur have each exhibited the glories of this post in their own unique ways. If one goes out on patrol with hopes of simply collecting money and rice, then that is not the pure form of Ajna Tahal. The Mahashaya on patrol plays his kartalas and calls out, "O faithful persons, I do not wish to beg from you any worldly thing or mundane favor. The only alms I beg is that all of you honor the order of the Lord by chanting the name of Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and teaching others about Krishna. Just invoke the true name of Krishna. Specifically by giving up Namabhasa, a hint of the name due to offenses, please chant the purely spiritual holy name of the Lord. O faithful persons, to give up Namabhasa and sing the pure holy names is certainly the true welfare of the living entities. Please worship Lord Krishna by chanting Krishna Nam, perform bhajana by engaging in Shravana, Kirtan, Smarana, Sevana, Archana, Vandana, Dasya, Sakhya, and Atma Nivedana. Execute that bhajana either on the path of Vidhi Marg or Rag Marg according to your specific qualification. O faithful persons, remaining free from 10 offenses, just worship Lord Krishna. Only Krishna is the living entity's mother, father, offspring, wealth, husband, and life treasure. The living entities are the spiritual ray, Krishna is the spiritual sun, and the material world is the living entity's prison. Truly, the pastimes of Krishna, which lie beyond the material realm, are the factual riches to be sought. O faithful persons, you have turned away from Krishna and thus suffered the experience of so-called happiness and distress in the realm of material world. This situation is not befitting you. All the following things come under the heading of unfavorable actions. Performed either by oneself or by society. Theft, speaking lies, cheating and hostility, lust, inflicting bodily harm, duplicitous politics, and so forth. Abandoning all these, just resort to pious means and spend your life in Krishna's world. The ultimate statement is this: showing mercy to all living beings, living a pure lifestyle, just chant the holy names of the Krishna. There is no difference whatsoever between Krishna Nam and Lord Krishna himself. By the mercy of the holy name, Krishna in the form of his names, forms, attributes, and pastimes will personally reveal himself to the vision of the eyes for your spiritual body. Truly, in a few days, your spiritual consciousness will be awakened and you will remain floating in the ocean of eternally sweet Krishna Prema. 16th question is, what kind of enthusiasm and happiness did Srila Jagannatha Das Babaji Maharaj and Srimad Bhakti Vinod Thakur display in preaching the program of Nam Hut? Answer is, we were present in the village of Amla Joda on 28th Falgun. After staying up the whole night on account of Ekadashi, the next morning all the devotees of the village went out for Nagara Sankirtan with great pomp. Keeping the most worshipable Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj in front, everyone reached Prapanna Ashram. The symptoms of ecstatic love that Babaji Maharaj began to exhibit at the time of Kirtana is beyond description. Even though he was more than 100 years old at that time, yet he wonderfully sang, cried, and rolled on the ground like a lion. It was an unprecedented scenery. The way he sang as follows: "What wonderful holy names has Lord Nityananda brought? He is distributing the holy names in exchange of one's faith. Although my most merciful Nityananda was hit on the head by Jagai, still he distributed love of God to everyone." On seeing the symptoms of Babaji Maharaj's ecstatic love, everyone became filled with bliss of Kirtana, displayed the symptoms of ecstatic love such as shedding of tears, standing of the hairs on the end, and danced for a long time with ecstasy. After a while, when Kirtan came to an end, he briefly delivered a lecture on Namahat. With great pleasure, Babaji Maharaj ordered the activities of Prapanna Ashrama to be carried out from that day onwards. According to the order of Babaji Maharaj, the person in charge of Namahat program completed the formality of inaugurating Prapanna Ashram on that day. It is customary in all countries that the head of local administration is invited as the chief guest whenever a school or a hospital is inaugurated. The most worshipable Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was invited as the chief guest during the inauguration of Prapanna Ashrama, and it was completely reasonable. Wherever Prapanna Ashrama is established, such as procedure should be followed. With that, 64th chapter is completed and we move on to 63rd chapter. 62nd is completed. We move on to 63rd chapter, which is called Singing About the Mellows of Ecstatic Love. First question is, what is correct procedure for singing about pastimes of Lord Krishna? Answer is, one should first sing about the pastimes of Gaurachandra. It is the custom among the devotees that they do not sing about the pastimes of Krishna without first singing about the pastimes of Gaurachandra. Second question is, what kind of music should a practitioner of devotional service hear? Answer is, a practitioner of devotional service should hear only those things and music which do not satisfy one's senses only, but by describing the pastimes of the Lord, help him cultivate devotional service. One should carefully give up hearing ordinary music and songs which simply increase one's attachment for material objects and sense gratification. Third question is, when did singing with musical instruments start among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Answer is, singing with musical instruments started only from the time of Srinivasa Acharya. Srinivasa Acharya, Sri Narottam Das and Sri Shyamananda Prabhu resided for some time as the students of Sri Jiva Goswami in Vrindavana. By the approval of Sri Jiva Goswami, these three started the process of performing Kirtana accompanied by musical instruments. All the three were expert in the science of music. Moreover, they were proficient in the Indian classical music of Delhi. They were intimate friends of each other and had one goal of life. Fourth question is, how did the process of singing songs in Manohara Shahi, Garanahati and Reneti ways come into existence? Answer is, Srinivasa Acharya illuminated the province of Katwa through his preaching. His area fell under the jurisdiction of Manohara Shahi subdivision. Therefore, the process of singing inaugurated by him is called Manohara Shahi. Sri Narottama Das was a resident of Kheturi village, which fell under the jurisdiction of Garanahati subdivision in the district of Rajshahi, Bangladesh. That is why the process of singing inaugurated by him is called Garanahat. Sri Shyamananda Prabhu belongs to the district of Midnapur. The process of singing inaugurated by him is called Riniti. In order to encourage all these three acharyas of singing songs, Sri Jiva Goswami awarded Srinivas the title Acharya, Sri Narottam Das the title Thakur, and Sri Shyamananda the title Prabhu. Fifth question is, why is it improper for persons who are ignorant about mellows of devotional service to add alphabets or words in the songs of the Mahajanas? Answer is, there is neither any overlapping of rasas nor any contradiction in the words of Mahajanas. Therefore, if persons or singers who are ignorant about the mellows of devotional service add anything to them, then it certainly becomes rasabhas or overlapping of rasas and opposed to the Vaishnava conclusion. With that, we conclude today's session. We will continue hereafter in the next session. My sincere obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.